Connect Forward. Stay connected.
The creative industries are far-reaching and diverse. They offer countless employment possibilities, from artists to animators, illustrators to influencers, presenters to producers. The opportunities are endless. The creative industries appeal to men and women alike. As of 2020, the creative industries have employed over 2 million people. It is projected that by 2030, this figure will increase by 1 million. But while these statistics are impressive, it appears that there is still a long way to go when it comes to the gender imbalance faced by the entire sector. More women than men study creative arts subjects at university, but a smaller proportion of women go into creative jobs after graduation. 40.6% of male creative arts graduates who were in work 6 months after graduation were employed in the creative industries, compared to only 30.3% of their female counterparts. It is important to recognise and talk about the women that have made an impact in the creative industries. Some of these notable women that have and continue to leave their mark on the industry are Alice Guy Blanche, Catherine Bigelow, Barbara Broccoli, Lauren Faust, Margot Robbie, and the Kardashian-Jenner family. First, Collette will be discussing Alice Guy Blanche, the first female director.
Alice Blanche, the first female director of her time. She was born in France 1873 and lived with her grandparents for the first 4 years of her life in Switzerland. Her father and mother at this time were living in Chile. While pregnant with Alice, her mother travelled to France for her birth. At age 4, she moved to Salongo to meet with her father, but then moved to France to live with him. She joined her sisters in a convent 2 years later, but sadly her father's bookstore collapsed, which meant Alice had to attend a cheaper boarding school. She watched her sisters get married, and then tragedy struck when both her father and her brother died, one after the other. Before working in the film industry, she worked for a company that sold varnishing products, and while there, she was sexually harassed by her co-workers. Alice Blanche was in the very room when the Lumiere brothers shared the first cinema screening. She asked Leon Gaumont if she could use the bioscope to direct a film while working in the studios. By the end of the year, in 1896, she started to produce her own films, and she was the first woman to do so. Her first movie, The Cabbage Fairy, was released in 1896. Leon Gaumont was so impressed with this he made her the head of productions at his studio. She stayed there until 1907, and while working there, she directed, casted, produced, edited, and did set designs for her own films. She then moved to the US and found her own studio called Solax in 1910. And while doing all this, she was raising 2 children. During this time, she lived in Queens. She mainly focused on the concept of social constructs and taboos at the time. She did this by dressing women in men's clothes to show their privilege. She had a diverse genre of filmmaking, making westerns, dramas, comedies, everything. She helped create some of the rules that we use in today's films. We see it in editing, special effects, and hand-tilted colouring. She also could have invented the music video in 1905 for the newfangled chromophone, as she filmed singers lip-syncing to pre-recorded playbacks. At the height of Alice's career, her husband started his own film company, invading in her studios, and he soon began to put his name down for his wife's own deals. Half a year later, she folded her company Solax from her husband convincing her to do so. However, Madame Olga Petrova starred in 5 of her films between 1915 and 1918. They were a massive actress at the time, and during this time she directed 18 films. The first 100 noted men and women of screen was published in 1920 by Carl Lynn Lower. She included Alice's husband in this and gave the credit of her work to him. In 1920, she made her last film. In 1927, she visited the Library of Congress to find her work, but the process of her work being forgotten had already started. She would spend the next 45 years of her life living off her daughters. She would occasionally give talks at colleges and help in films. Sadly, a lot of her earlier work has been forgotten or lost. Before her death, the son of Louis Gaumont, delivered a speech mentioning her as the first female filmmaker in 1954, and she was honoured at the Cinema de Kew ceremony. At 95 years old, she died in a nursing home in New Jersey. This was in 1968. This was 48 years after her last film. Many historians did not recognise her attributes to film until the Film Encyclopedia was the first one to mention her. In 1980, the French Cinema Origins mentioned her work but not her name. More than 95% of her work has been destroyed and lost. It's fair to say that sexism played a part in stopping her from being a part of film history. Lois Weber got her start in one of Blanche's films, who is also a well-established film director. In 1907, she married her husband, Herbert Blanche, who was the manager of Gaumont, and in 1922 she divorced him. After talking about the first female director, I will now hand it over to Lauren, who will talk about females within the media industry between the 90s and 2000s.
Just like Collette said, I will be discussing about more recent information to do with females in the media industry between the 90s and 2000s. However, I should first point out that for when it comes to consuming media through film, I mostly watch films done by males, like with Del Toro who made Blade, Blade 2, The Old Hellboys, and the Hobbit franchise. Then there's Ridley Scott who did famous films like Alien and Prometheus. And finally, then there is Christopher Nolan who did the Dark Knight Batman trilogy. However, that isn't to say I've never watched media from females, as that couldn't be more far from the truth, as I've watched media from females. The first female that I'll mention is Kathryn Bigelow, who used to be known for being the wife of David Cameron, but would go on to being better known for The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30 and Point Break in particular. For me, when it comes to Kathryn Bigelow, I have watched Point Break, which is about a cop going undercover with a group of surfer criminals, and the reason that I much enjoyed Point Break was because of its compelling storyline, likeable and realistic characters, and strong characters as well in it, and even spearheaded action camera work due to this movie. The second female that I'll bring up in this discussion is Barbara Dana Broccoli, who's better known for her work on the James Bond franchise after her father, Albert R. Broccoli, or Cubby as he was affectionately known as, turned ownership to Barbara on the 8th of August 1990. I personally have watched some of Barbara's James Bond films, and while most might say it's an over-the-top masculine junkie watch, I say that isn't a fair assessment of the films that are made within the James Bond franchise, as it's a way for males to escape from reality and picture a strong male character archetype to aspire to. And it's a way for females to get some eye candy at a strong and charismatic male character to boot. And lastly, I would like to mention Lauren Faust, the creator of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, and the wife of Craig McCracken, who created things like the Powerpuff Girls, Dexter's Laboratory, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, and Wander Over Yonder. And the reason that I bring up Lauren Faust in this is because when she created Friendship is Magic, it had a wide range of female-specific oriented cast members that empowered girls, but also wasn't overbearing with its female tones, as it raked in audiences of both male and female equally, of varying ages and backgrounds, that took key inspiration in the messages and teachings that the show brought, and also because it was one of my childhood shows growing up, and I also related heavily with these, as it helped me get through dark times in my life then, due to the messages and teachings within the show, and also brought a huge fandom of people together as friends, and for people to relate with on things. Now that we have discussed in some depth about more recent females within the media industry, like with directors and producers between the 90s to 2000s, I will now pass it on to Shianne to discuss about a female actress who was born in the 90s and did movies for the 2010s.
Need a fresh trim or just looking to get pampered but can't fit it into your schedule? Take advantage of our on-site beauty salons here at Forth Valley College. Available at our Ratblock, Falkirk and Alloa campuses. We promise you'll leave in style.
Margot Elise Robbie was born on the 2nd of July 1990 in Dalby, Queensland, Australia, to parents Sari Kessler and Doug Robbie. She studied drama at Somerset College in Queensland. While studying, she worked multiple jobs to make ends meet. She graduated at 17 years old and moved to Melbourne to pursue acting as a full-time career. From 2008 to 2010, she played the character of Donna Friedman in the long-running Australian soap opera Neighbours, for which she was nominated for 2 Logie Awards. After her third year on Neighbours, Robbie moved to Los Angeles and signed a contract with talent management company Management 360. She worked on another TV show, Pan Am, which opened the door for bigger opportunities, including co-starring alongside Leonardo DiCaprio in Martin Scorsese's Oscar-nominated film, The Wolf of Wall Street, which led her to receive an MTV Movie Award nomination for Breakthrough Performance. In 2014, Robbie founded Lucky Chap Entertainment with her now husband Tom Ackerley and friends Josie McNamara and Sophia Kerr. Its mandate: tell women's stories on screen and support women creators behind the scenes. Lucky Chap's first release was I, Tonya, which received 3 Academy Award nominations. This is definitely not the last that we will be hearing from Margot Robbie and Lucky Chap Entertainment. Next, Julie will be discussing female influencers.
Hi, my name is Julie Young, and today I will be discussing women of today's industry and how social media has brought a new age of females leading in the media industry. Influencers are seen on every platform or social media. Whether they are advertising a product, promoting their own brands, people are becoming their own advertisement features all over the world. People leading the forefront of this are the Kardashians and Jenner sisters, the first family of social media. They are the most followed family in the world, with over 757 million followers between them on Instagram alone. Starting out as a reality TV star, sister Kim, who is now 40, makes up 191 million of the followers alone on Instagram. She took over the lead on using social media as an advertisement platform in the early stages of her career. She built herself up as a brand and developed herself from a celebrity stylist to a business mogul. Kim is now the CEO of her own beauty brand, KKW Beauty, and shapewear and loungewear garment line, Skims. It was reported on September 2020 that Kim is now worth an estimated $900 million, putting her on the billionaires list, and not forgetting she is still cashing out from featuring on the family's reality TV show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The youngest of the 5 sisters, Kylie Jenner, was only 13 when the reality TV shows began filming. She was seen going through young adult life on the show, and interest constantly grew into Kylie's personal life. Kylie followed in sister Kim's footsteps by branding herself through social media, which led to developing her own makeup line, beginning with lip kits. In 2019, Kylie was named the youngest ever self-made billionaire by Forbes, which didn't come without its controversy. Kylie makes up 200 million of the family's Instagram followers. Kylie has recently developed her own skincare line and continues to use social media to promote and sell all of her products. If we move on to look at the new app TikTok, which took off in 2019 and quickly became one of the fastest growing platforms of social media. The app's 2 most followed creators are Charli D'Amelio, who is 16, and Addison Rae, who is 20. The 2 shot to everyone's For You pages by creating dances to trending songs and began building their social media platforms. Charli currently sits at 32.8 million followers on Instagram and 98 million followers on TikTok, whereas Addison sits at 31 million followers on Instagram and 68.3 million followers on TikTok. Both girls use the platforms to promote and advertise companies that will appeal to their audience. They have went on to develop collaborations with brands and have both built their own YouTube channels from the stardom. In September 2020, it was announced that Addison would be featuring in the 2021 remake of She's All That It will be exciting to see what comes of both of the creators. It is clear that there are no boundaries that cannot be broken by these young females in the media industry. These creators see opportunity on each platform and use it to their advantage, all while promoting themselves and cashing out on the opportunity.
We can see women in the media have impacted it for better and for worse, from Alice Guy Blanche to the Kardashian-Jenner family. Their influence has changed and recognition has become more prominent. The history of women within the media has grown to be more accepting, but it is fair to say there is still a long way to go.
Right then, I'll get the rounds in. Same again, aye?
Yeah, sure, but diet for me this time, please.
Diet?
Aye, I'm trying to lose weight, Ken.
And just get yourself to the gym. Problem solved.
Aye, very good. You know how much the gym membership is these days? Look, I just can't afford it.
Not if you go to the ones here at the college. You can get a membership for as little as 30 quid, and that's for a full year.
That sounds pretty good, but it's not much use to me having a membership for Stirling when I live all the way out in Falkirk.
Doesn't matter. One membership allows you access to all gyms on all 3 campuses. With the latest state-of-the-art equipment, fitness classes and personalised programmes available for as little as £30 per year, Forth Valley College offers its students and staff an easily affordable way to get fit and stay in shape. Memberships are available on campus.
Hi, I'm Collette Bamford. I'm joined by Shianne Eddy and Lauren Douglas, and today we're going to be talking about women's body image, especially within media, and our own experiences growing up. Hi, how are you today?
Cool.
You doing good?
Good, thanks. How are you, Collette?
I'm doing good. So my first question is, how did this affect you growing up? It's over sexualization of women in the media. Seeing that kind of been the norm for a good while.
I'll take this one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's affected me at all. I've never really thought anything of it. I mean, I've watched, what is it? I grew up with, let's see, Barbie.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take Barbie. Because I remember that one. That's the only one I can really think of off the top of my head. Yeah, I watched it. I didn't really think anything of it. I never was like, wow, I must be this stereotype. But I was always under the assumption yeah, she's nice, so move on.
Yeah. Well, I think for me personally, TV programs, I was seeing it on movies. I watched even Disney movies. They're all really skinny. Which is nothing wrong with that. Obviously, it's just not realistic. I'm talking obviously when I'm a child, and obviously not when I got to a teenager, because when you get older, you kind of wait a minute. I really did think that's what women looked like. I didn't think there was different shaped women growing up, being younger. What about you, Shianne?
At the time growing up, it didn't affect me. I just played with Barbies, Bratz, all those kind of things because it was fun. But looking back at the look that Barbie had, tall, skinny legs, long blonde hair, that idealistic body shape, it would affect me now if I was playing with those kind of dolls. Not that I would.
Yeah.
But I do see why it can really affect some people. However, on the other side of things, she was quite inspirational because she had all those careers: astronaut, pilot, scientist,
Definitely.
all those kind of careers that girls aspire to be like, and that is really helpful. Not helpful. It's really, I can't think of the
Positive.
word. Yeah, it's very positive.
Yeah, I agree that Barbie is definitely empowered woman in the sense of she's never for us growing up, she was everything, anything she proved a woman can bring. I think it was definitely just the body structure thing about it, but we're not blaming it all on Barbie. Obviously, I'm saying that with near enough every TV program and every kind of doll growing up. Now it's different. There's plus size Barbies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very diverse.
Yeah, definitely is very diverse. Going in a better direction than I think than we were younger.
Yeah,
For it.
I agree.
The next question. How has things like TikTok helped decrease and increase body positivity? I'm going to take this one quickly for a couple of seconds and I'll pass it on. I think TikTok has helped it a lot. I've seen a lot of women who the push of women's perfect image, you know what I'm saying, like being pushed on so many young girls. And I've seen people come out and do trends and being like, this is what we look like, it's okay to have stretch marks, it's okay to look like this. And I really do appreciate it a lot. I think it's really going places, and I hope that I keep seeing stuff like that being posted online on TikTok. Obviously there's been campaigns and all that before that. I'm not saying TikTok's like invented it, but because so many users are doing it and there's so many women that are coming out, I'll pass it on.
I think TikTok, Instagram, all these social media platforms, they are very helpful, but I think that's mainly down to our generation. We are a very accepting generation. We're very diverse. We're very accepting, and when it comes to TikTok videos I've seen where people are doubting themselves, particularly their body image, everyone comments and just boosts that confidence.
Yeah.
And there's been videos on TikTok I've seen where people are dancing with their stomachs out to show, like, this is normal.
Definitely.
Like, everyone has that little bit of fat on their stomach. It's just completely normal. And that's a really good thing. But at the same time, I think social media platforms like Instagram in particular can be quite toxic.
Yeah.
Because you see these influencer model people, and sometimes their photos can be heavily edited, but you can't tell, and you think, wow, they look like that. How do they look like that? And you start to doubt yourself, particularly with Kardashians, Jenners, those kinds of people, because there has been some talk about them editing their photos, and you can see it sometimes in their photos, like wiggly lines in the background and just little bits that you probably wouldn't pick up on unless someone pointed it out to you. And the fact that these photos are so heavily edited sometimes can really affect people's perception of other people's body image.
Yeah.
And they think, is this really what the ideal beauty standard is?
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's like, there's a line, I think, and no one's saying you can't edit your photos, and no one's saying you can't put filters on it, no one's saying you can't get what you want done to your body, no one's saying that. It's just, when it comes to like editing your photos, when you edit it so much, so drastically, you're kind of, it just becomes unrealistic to a point. And if people are seeing that, and I know for a fact, this is like, I've experienced the same thing, growing up with social media and seeing all these perfect, like, you know what I'm saying, they're perfect, and you just think,
flawless, yeah.
Why am I not? You know what I'm saying? Why am I not like that? Why don't I look like that? What do I need to do to look like that, kind of thing? And I think it's just everything that young women kind of go through. That unfortunately wraps up our time together. So I'm Collette Bamford. I was joined by Shianne, Eddie and Lauren Douglas. Thank you for listening, and goodbye. So that concludes our take of women within the industry. We have discussed women throughout the years from 1873 to 2020 and how women have dominated the industry throughout these times. From writers to directors to social media creators, women have mastered creating new ideas and building brands. We'd like to thank you all for listening and hope you can take something away from this. And hope every young girl feels inspired.
Connect 4. Stay connected.